Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Alessandrini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm having a Wednesday. How are you?
Is that the third Monday?
It's feeling a little third Monday-y, and I don't have a good reason for that even.
What did you do?
But I guess it's just a Wednesday.
What did you do this weekend? Anything to tire you out?
I went to Lime Rock,
Okay, that sounds.
but I didn't do anything to tire myself out, I guess. It was kind of hot. It was kind of gross, but I drove. So the Oldsmobile that I was supposed to drive broke in testing on Tuesday, and they couldn't fix it in time.
Like right away. You only did like, what, 3 laps, 4 laps?
I did 4 on the 5th is when it started to smoke a little bit. Let me see. Can I car guy? The rear, nope. It was leaking oil from an O-ring at the bell housing for the transmission and the
Gorman.
what?
I believe.
Oh, I told this story already. Yeah. Okay, the car was broken, so I didn't drive that. That was last week's episode. If you want to hear, I just got out of car guying, and my goal was to drive 6 different cars because I kept the entry. Like I still had the entry to do time attack. I drove 4 different cars across the 6 sessions I could have done. So that was still like a successful weekend, but I mean, I didn't do very many laps, obviously.
Yeah.
It's time attack. So I have no reason to be tired. Just an old man.
Just this is it. This is our old man era. Welcome to the show where we're going to start talking about mortgages and financial plans.
I just recoiled so hard from that. No.
Tom, if anyone go ahead.
Do you want to hear what my goals were in high school for what my job was going to be in the future?
Oh, yes, please.
My job in the future when I was in high school, I never wanted to have to wear a tie.
Okay.
And I never wanted to have to deal with taking vacation. And I think I accidentally did it.
Those
I didn't really.
Those aren't terrible
such
goals.
Arbitrary things. Yeah, I don't
know if I've ever worn a tie at work, even for a job interview. I don't know if I've worn a tie.
Yeah,
maybe I have.
Whoever
for
invented that is so dumb. It's like the women's or the men's version of high heels, except probably less uncomfortable than high heels.
Definitely
like,
less
why do women have to wear high heels and men have to wear ties? What the hell?
Why do we ever have to wear a tie? Ties are kind of like, what are we doing? Even for my wedding, like what is a tie? When did that become a thing? Like, is this just some old timey like evolution of like ancient clothes? Like when George Washington was walking around with his like big white wig, and like somehow the evolution of fashion turned into like me wearing like a piece of silk around my neck. What are we doing? It's completely pointless. Like, at least, look, guys, at least when we're driving race cars, we look like race car drivers because that's the necessary equipment to safely drive a race car.
Okay, so you get to skip one article for driving a race car. What do you skip?
What do you mean article?
One of the articles of clothing that you're supposed to be wearing. What do you skip?
The balaclava.
The balaclava?
Yeah.
You're a monster. That keeps your helmet nice.
Yeah, I'll just buy another one in 10 years.
Ew. No. Maybe I'm gross, but I need the balaclava. I skip the socks.
The socks?
But you shouldn't skip anything. Listener out there, you shouldn't skip anything.
Look, this is all hypothetical, definitely allegedly. But I also skip the socks because something with the Nomex socks makes my feet smell really bad, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if other people have that out there. Maybe I just outed myself. Normally, I don't have stinky feet, but when it's Nomex socks, like I don't know. I pull my feet out of the boot, and normally there's nothing. But when I'm wearing Nomex socks, it's just like, oh, what happened in there during that race?
Christian said no socks is way more gross than no balaclava. I wear some socks. I just don't wear the fireproof kind.
That's funny.
The reason I don't wear them is because I lose them and I just don't have them anymore. If I had to buy a new pair of fireproof socks every time I lost a pair of fireproof socks, I'd be broke.
I have one pair.
I wouldn't have any money.
I have one pair, and it's the Past Tech.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So
hey, if you're an organizer and you're out there listening to this, I wear all my gear as well.
Definitely. But you know what would suck, Tom? Hold on. In hindsight, let's actually think about this logically. Is if you were in a fire and your feet are getting burned and they wouldn't have been burned otherwise because you're wearing the socks that make your feet stinky, like that'd be pretty dumb, wouldn't it?
It'd be very dumb.
Yeah.
That's
So
why this is all hypothetical.
that's why. So when I'm racing, I always wear the balaclava. But then for some reason, when it's not like I'm like wheel to wheel racing. It's like, oh, the car's definitely going to catch on fire this time. It's just I don't know. I always just throw the helmet on without the. Is it balaclava or bala? I realize
That
I'm
one.
saying it wrong. Balaclava.
Yep.
I feel like there's too many. Oh, thanks,
Like the
Joel.
Greek
Joel,
dessert.
yeah, Joel spelt it out. What is balaclava?
No, no. I think you made that
I
up.
made it up. Nice.
It's not anything. Yeah.
Ryan goes,
I
it's
okay.
nothing.
That was basically my weekend. I drove a or I drove Raul's GLTC car,
How was it?
the GR86 with the FA24 in it.
Be honest.
Very fun.
He,
Very fun.
Raul doesn't even listen to the podcast, so you can speak honestly about it.
Yes, of course.
He's probably here right now.
No, it was good. I drove the ASM Shop Civic that mostly Dakota, but Andy and Dakota have been putting together.
Yeah.
And I miss driving front wheel drive. That car was so fun. It had the problem though with the all wheel drive with the front wheel drive no ABS thing where it would just like carry the inside
Oh,
rear tire across the surface and like we had to drive it in a way that it wouldn't cord the inside rear tire all the time.
yeah. Especially turn one at Lime Rock, you're really like bringing the nose in far on the brakes. So,
Yep.
yep.
So his first drive or his first session, he was just like plume of smoke off the right rear tire every single time.
Hey,
And the car can stop harder than that. Like it's fine, but it looks crazy. And uh yeah, I drove so that one, and then I drove Salil's BMW GLTC car, and that was fine, not like exceptional, not bad, whatever. And then I drove Super K in the last session, mostly to try to taunt Jackie Ding that I was going to beat his record, and I did not.
in your 2 laps in the car, you didn't break it. Oh, come on, Tom.
No, but
Maybe
Super
next
K is
time.
amazing. The last time I drove it was 2022, and it was not that great. It was a little sloppy and a little
Yeah.
bit hard to put power down and a little bit messy. But dude, they've worked on it a lot, and it's so good. It's very, very good. So, um, if anybody sees that Greenhouse 2000 and goes, "Damn, that car looks good," it's because it is very fun.
How close were you?
To Jackie's lap, it
Yeah.
was 1.2 off.
Okay. Do you think it was in there? Like, do you think because there's not a whole lot of corners and things at Lime Rock.
No, honestly, I think so. It was literally my first lap because then the car starts to get hot and heat
Yeah,
soak and stuff. So it's not like my first lap of the track or anything, but first lap of that track in that car.
yeah.
And also, to be fair, it's a street mod car, and we were in track mod, so it was like they were allowed to run better tires, I think, and more stuff. Whatever. Who cares?
However, the rules
Uh,
rule.
I think I think my lap probably had maybe 5 to 7 tenths in it of driving alone,
Yeah.
and then this was like the 3 o'clock session on Sunday. So I think if it
Oh,
had been like an early session day, like maybe possible, but it was mostly just to give him shit. I wasn't actually expecting to
yeah.
beat
I
it.
gotcha.
Although I was kind of bummed, I got fourth in the class. There were like maybe fifth even. There were a couple people that were still quicker than me throughout the whole weekend. I was hoping to at least get on the podium, but
W-
oh well.
would it have counted? Would you have been at like went up on the podium and you're like, hey,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it would have
okay?
counted.
Because I wasn't sure how they were doing that because you were driving so many different cars, so I wasn't sure.
They told me as long as I had my number plates on, my transponder on, and the track mod stickers on,
Yeah.
that I could drive anything. But every time I changed cars, my times got deleted. So like when I drove the Civic and then I drove the BMW, my Civic times got deleted. And then
How
when I
were
drove Raul's car, the BMW got deleted.
so when you drove Raul's car, which is normally a GLTC car, were you like covering his stickers with your stickers? Yeah.
Yep.
That's so it's so
I didn't
funny.
take the backing off. I just painter taped them on.
Yeah, like so it was never sticky. Yeah, dude, that's
Yep.
so funny. You're just walking around like, I'll drive your car in track mod. Step
Yeah.
right up.
It is kind of actually it is kind of the hack to do like data laps. You just get a track mod or an unlimited entry.
Yeah, that is
Most
kind of
people
the
like
hack. Yeah.
if I needed to, I could do that in the future. And then I accidentally ended up driving progressively faster cars, so like the grid spot always made sense. I ended up gridding where Alex was supposed to grid for the last session and not where I was supposed to grid because I would have been in like mid pack of Group B. And if I had been in Super K in the middle of Group B, I would have just been like a monster.
Yeah.
So they allowed me to grid where Alex was supposed to grid, which was like, I don't know, eighth or ninth in Group A, which worked well.
Yeah, dude, the GLTC racing this weekend was really entertaining to watch. Because normally Lime Rock doesn't like necessarily like okay, especially in iRacing. Lime Rock doesn't race that well, in my opinion, in iRacing because it's kind of just like it's just really hard to pass. You kind of just cover the inside down the front straight. That's basically it. Uh, and yeah, just the mix up and the way the cars made speed slightly differently, like was just really entertaining to watch. Coutil's pass around the outside Magnussen was epic, and then Andy following through. I watched Andy's race 4 video. It looks like he has the car driving really well, and also Andy was driving super well. Uh, yeah, it was fun to watch. Friend of the podcast, Paul Darling, got on the podium and
Hey,
won his first ever 2 races. So congrats to Paul. I'm just glad that the world gets to see how much of an amazing driver Paul is. Because me and Tom have known that Paul is like super good for a long time, and it's just he just keeps having bad luck. He's trying to, Paul's a much better driver than he is anything involving a mechanic or a car setup or anything like that. So like he got this BMW and he's been trying to like get it to drive like a car for a while now, and for whatever reason it just it looked like super solid. So if he could figure out the magic sauce and have that go to other tracks, I think you'll see Paul near the front more often.
yeah. I mean, he's been in like the 5th to 7th position for like a while now when the car's running fine. But yeah, there was like the rumor mill of whose lap times did what or who did what lap times on the test day Thursday, and there was like a couple people did 57s. That's really fast, and Paul was not there yet, and he sent a message in one of the group chats like, "I guess I should just turn around now." Turn around
Yeah.
to qualifying. He
Yeah.
gets on pole, wins the first race, wins the second race. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Dude, and he was so solid. He didn't like put a foot wrong. Like he did exactly the drive he needs to do. That's what I'm saying. Like Paul's like he's legit. Like he is super good. So I'm glad
Yeah,
that the world got to see how good Paul is. So uh
Mr. Scooter.
yeah, what's cool about Paul is like just a couple years ago, he was like he's the one you're pulling out a grid and he's the one like pointing you which way to go. Like I remember Paul pointing me which way to be on like the starting like which row or not which row, but which side when I'm taking the green flag, like when you're pulling out a grid. He's been a flagger for like the SCCA. Like Paul's been around racing for a long time. He's sim raced for a very long time and then finally like started driving on track for real just really not that long ago. So yeah, I think Paul has a cool story if anybody's interested in that.
Yeah, I agree. If only anyone that we knew had a podcast to like have him on as a guest or something.
Yeah, maybe we should have Paul on at some point. I would like talking to Paul. I think there might be some interesting conversations because I'm sure you guys have all met somebody, but like Paul's like his own worst enemy. Like when it comes to like or like his own worst critic. Like he's and I that might be an interesting conversation of like okay, we should be our own critic, but like the line has to be drawn somewhere. So like
Yeah,
that I think that would be an interesting conversation to have.
like aggressive modesty.
Yes.
That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and
um,
we'll try to get Paul to curse when he's on the podcast too cuz he just he'll be like, "Oh darn."
Fiddlesticks.
Yep. That'll be fun.
Um, I felt like the biggest like meathead sports fan at a bar, like screaming at the TV when I was on the hill watching
Yeah. Were
GLTC.
you
I had so
yelling?
much fun. Yeah, I was yelling. Oh yeah, and it was
Yeah.
because like, oh look at Emil and oh look at
Yeah.
Lena and it's Salil getting it's just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I'm sure everyone else is looking around like what the hell he's screaming about, but I had so much fun. And then I was like maybe 20 feet behind like the Coutil camp on the hill. I had a golf cart, so I was like sitting up high, and they were down kind of towards the bottom. But like especially race 4, you could his dad was standing, Eric's dad, Paul was standing, and you could just like every time he'd make a move, you could see the 82 on the back of his shirt, like jumping up and down, and
Yeah,
his
dude,
arms,
that's so cool.
yeah. He posted a picture of it on Instagram. Somebody got, but it was so fun to watch in real time. I was like, damn. I almost think it's just as much fun to watch as it is to race half the time because this is
Yeah.
a blast.
Well, dude, it is so that's we've talked about this before where if you're watching racing and you don't know anybody in it, like I'm curious if people thought that the racing was really entertaining if they don't know anything about the drivers in GLTC. Like, I'm sure it was somewhat entertaining, but just knowing a little bit about the drivers or their own stories that exist just makes the stakes of what's happening on track just so much more enjoyable. I think that's why Formula 1 is fun to watch, is because I think they do a good job like having the drivers' stories like exist, and there's only 20 of them, and they're always there. So like it's pretty easy to follow. Like, oh, Lance Stroll's the rich kid, and Max Verstappen's the ruthless asshole, and like you can have like all the like the storylines. So you kind of have like a connection with like whatever driver you like, you're rooting for.
Yeah, totally true. Lena had a ton of family there. I think Salil's parents were there this weekend, and it's just fun to watch family become fans of
Yeah.
it because they know people. Like I know when I started wheel to wheel racing, my parents started coming to most every event. They had stuff to do and they enjoyed it and they enjoyed meeting people. Versus autocross is like not that fun to watch, so they came to maybe like 2 of those ever.
Yep. Same.
Unless they were driving, of course. But then, I had my grandparents come and aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff, and you can see that they get it in a way that they couldn't if they didn't have somebody to watch.
Yeah.
That makes sense? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
like there's an investment level that yeah, it's I don't know how to share that with somebody who doesn't have the stakes in there other than to, like, encourage them to go to a race, if that like, where they know somebody.
Yeah. Or like walk around the paddock and just have a single conversation with like somebody driving. So no matter where they're at, you're like, oh, that's the person we were talking to. That's so cool. They're out on track. Like I remember when I went down to Florida to pick up the free race car, and I, me and my dad drove straight through the night in order to get to your race in time, which you were racing TCR at Daytona. And then Kenton, who I also knew, was racing GT4 in like literally the same race, just two different classes. And I just remember like standing up in the stands watching your guys' like 3 hour race. I think it was 3 hours. And like, oh, is Tom in the car yet? No, Tom's not in the car. Yeah, because I would like see you standing on the pit lane. Like I'm up in the stands and I would see you there. And then when I saw you like climb over the wall and climb into the car, I'm like, that's Tom. He's getting in the car. And like the same thing with Kenton. Just because like I knew you guys. So, and it was just like, it was kind of surreal watching from like, the other side of the pit lane, looking down from the grandstand and seeing these people that like I've hung out with and like had conversations with, and watching you guys like climb into these things with like the team running around the car changing tires and fuel and everything, and I could see like the activity in the car of like the belts and the comms getting hooked up and the drink tube and all this stuff, and then you and like drive away and it's like, oh, that's so cool, and then I'd see you come around like flying into turn one and it looked like you hit a wall when you hit the brakes, and yeah, dude, like wild. And if I didn't know you guys, I don't think that would be like half as exciting as it was.
Yeah. Hmm. Damn, I used to be cool.
I still think you're
I'm
pretty
kidding.
cool, Tom.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have the same thing when I'm watching, like, this past weekend. I don't know, the fact that I know everybody throughout the field and I was, like, able to cheer or, like, I guess I had not watched a race in that way in a long time, really. I've watched at home and, you're talking with your friends at home and everybody's, either messaging back and forth or whatever. But, yeah, watching in person was really fun. It's like, I could almost just go to the rest of these races and just watch to be a fan for the rest of the season. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Can we just do a quick shout out of the Discord live audience right now? Where did all these people come from? It's a,
I don't know.
yeah,
34 people.
I know that's a pretty big live audience for us. So thank you everyone for coming out. Shout out to the Discord. The link is
Shout
in
out
the
to the
description.
Discord.
So,
Thanks,
Sam, we lost
audience.
all our jobs. When did this happen? Did I miss some news?
Yeah, they all got fired for listening to screwing around on Discord during their work.
Maybe just before 6 o'clock on Wednesday is the hot time to record, Tom.
Here we go.
Yep.
I found out it is not the right time to get a haircut because I tried to go get a haircut before this podcast. First of all, you can compliment the
Yeah, I know
haircut.
it looks great. Yeah, that looks
I'm
great.
kidding. And then I I forgot first of all that traffic exists, and second of all that everyone gets off work between 4 and 5 o'clock. So I had to wait in line at the barber shop that I normally go in and out of in like 10
Oh,
minutes.
yeah, that's your problem. That's why are you
Bad
going?
choice.
Why are you going when other people are trying to get stuff done?
I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
And then we were also a little late because I was installing this bad boy. Hold on, let me make sure that the wheels are working.
Lizard. Lizard.
Ah, come on, everyone.
Lizard.
If you don't know
Nice.
what that is, that's a meme that's been going around. Okay.
Listen.
Uh
How was your weekend? I
oh
talked
yeah.
about myself a bunch. How was your weekend?
Yeah, so me and Christine went backpacking on Friday into Saturday during the weekend. So we got done with work on Friday, and then we loaded up the car with all the backpacking gear, and we walked into the middle of the woods, and then we slept on the ground, and we woke up, and then we walked out of the woods, and it was hot, and I was sweaty, and it was really uncomfortable. And in the middle of the night, we just heard coyotes like 360 degrees around us. Just one would howl, and then you would hear it. Just like it almost sounded like kind of. Sorry, I hit the mic. It almost kind of sounded like Adobe Atmos like test. Like if you've ever been like sitting on a couch and somebody like does the test and you hear it like distinct different directions from all around you. Except we were in a tent and they were real. So uh,
Uh,
that was fun. Christine had so much fun. Christine has recently found type 2 fun, and I'm just tagging along for her exploring what type 2 fun is.
yeah.
Do you know what type 2 fun is,
That's fun
Tom?
though. Yeah, that's the kind that it's not fun while you do it, but after you're like, yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, that was okay. Yep. So,
Just that sounds fun enough. I actually camped last year at Pit Race for an autocross, and it was not hot, so I enjoyed myself. And it was also a shower
mm.
right across the parking lot, so that was also fine. But hot, sweaty camping, I don't know about that.
No, it was just a little too warm and like I think if we brought maybe different gear, but it's not like we have a lot of backpacking gear, so I think when it gets a little colder, it might actually be pretty fun and entertaining. I think it was just a little too warm. And then yeah, honestly when it gets colder, I think it'll be better because there was a lot of bugs. Like I had this like freeze dried lasagna that like I added water and then heated it up and it was ready to eat. But as I was eating it, a bug flew into my face and then landed in my lasagna. So I was like, I guess I'm done eating because like I wasn't about to eat the
Ugh.
bug like lasagna. Like I'm sure it would have been fine. And maybe if I was like actually really hungry, then I'd have been like, whatever, added protein or something. But like nope. I was like, yep, you know what? I ate enough. And then I was done with it. And then since we're trying to practice like good backpacking rules, it's like we have to cook and eat the food. You do like a triangle. So like you sleep on one point of the triangle, you cook on the other point of the triangle, and then you store everything on the other point of the triangle. And it's like 200 feet away from everything. So like we're walking through the woods in the middle of the night, like in a big triangle, trying to like do the backpacking thing properly. It's not much of a thing in Cuyahoga National Park, which is where we were, because there's not really any bears. But if we ever go camp somewhere where there's bears, you generally don't want the food to be where you're sleeping because then the bear will be like, "Cool, look at all these things to eat, including these things in the tent."
I thought you were supposed to sling your food up over a tree branch
Yeah, you do, like on one of the points of the triangle.
so your little campground is a triangle shape, and your tents on one point, and then
Yeah.
you cook in another point.
And
I
then you
never heard
store
this
the food
before.
on another point. Yeah, Christine's learning all about it.
I thought you were gonna say it's like an etiquette thing or something, and I had so
Nope.
many questions about how that could even be related.
Nope, it's just trying not to get eaten by bears. So when we heard all the
Well,
coyotes, I have a air horn to like try to scare away wildlife if it's ever trying to mess with us. So like
okay.
I felt like I was like sleeping, but like the air horn was in my hand in case like I woke up and like there was something like messing around with the tent, so I could like. Oh, I think I have an air horn. That is not the air horn. Hold on. Yeah, gotta go away,
That
coyotes.
would be that would be so jarring if you did that in the middle of the night. Oh my god. Didn't you autocross this weekend?
I
Your new
did.
car?
Oh yeah, and then after that, I went and bought a car. The cheapest NC Miata on Facebook Marketplace. He's a podcast listener, Derek. So Derek put his car in. We have a channel in Discord, which is like stuff for sale. And he posted it there. And I was instantly like, I want it. And I give him a deposit. And yesterday, or not yesterday, but on Saturday, I went and picked it up.
Nice. Was it fun?
It was kind of a brutal drive home. So the car doesn't have any air conditioning.
Oh
And
God.
and the soft top is it's like 50% tape. And
I did see the pictures of that. Yes. Okay.
and the one of the hooks was loose. So when I got it home, I like kind of took a lot of stuff apart and like was like nut and bolting everything. So like it's probably better now, but basically one of the hooks on the soft top was loose and it was just like click clacking the whole time and it was like really loud and it was also like kind of lifting on the front, so like the wind noise was super loud. And it was like 93 degrees and I'm like driving down the highway with the windows down but the top up, because when the top was down I was just like roasting in the sun. I'm like, this isn't going to work.
Yep.
So yep. And then just to try to protect some kind of remnants of hearing and also sanity, I just had like some noise canceling headphones on, which I will tell you what, anytime I took those off for a second, I was like, oh, these are going back on, because they like cut the noise so much to the point
Sure.
where it was like bearable. So I think that's like what I'll be wearing forever in this car. But I will say, Tom, so there's something wrong with it, like lean on, and I knew all this. I knew all of this. This is why it was the cheapest uh Miata on Facebook Marketplace. But there's like something wrong either with like the tune or like the MAF sensor or something where it says it's saying lean on bank one at idle. And I have to figure that out. So it's like not quite running how it should. That said, after buying the car, getting home at 8:30, messing with it till about 11:30, going to bed, waking up, doing a local autocross, top packs.
Oh,
Let's
beer,
go.
beer, beer, beer.
In
Hell
CST.
yeah.
Yeah, in CST. Dude, the car is so, it needs a diff, because the moment you get on throttle, either you're like spinning up the inside wheel or it just like pushes. But like on entry, oh my goodness. On entry, it is so good. It feels like unlimited nose. Like if you place the weight correctly, you can just get the thing to spin at will, like if you wanted it to. And I love it when cars are like that. So it is great. Also, I thought NC Miatas were kind of like heavy, and I like looked it up, and this thing's probably like mid 24s on 245 tires. Like I couldn't believe how late I could break into stuff and like still like be able to twist the nose in and get like a good angle on the cone.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably find a diff for this thing, figure out whatever that lean at idle thing. Bill said it's probably a small vacuum leak. It runs fine at idle. It just throws the code. So I'm not sure. Bill, if you want to help me troubleshoot it after this, that's cool. There's so many weird hoses running every which direction on the engine. You know, by the time I like the Civic, I kind of like knew everything about that because I had to, and I've never had to know anything about any other car basically, but maybe a little bit of an FRS. So the NC Miata is kind of like a whole new adventure for me to like especially finding this whatever this uh like error code or whatever that's making it not run quite right. So it will be a little bit of an adventure to find that out, because it needs to pass emissions for me to get it registered. And right now with the light on, it will not pass emissions. So it's kind of, I'm like in a holding pattern to get the car to work. So
Oh.
yeah,
Is
a
that
little
is that
unfortunate.
your county? I don't think I have to
Yeah,
do emissions.
yeah, it's a Cuyahoga County thing. It's like a Cleveland area thing.
Ah,
Yeah.
bummer.
So, but the car is super fun. I need a diff. I need to get the thing running correctly. Probably put a new soft top on it. The Fortune Auto like 500s on the car like were mostly like fine. The balance, the way the car drove was like good, except the one wheel peel. I think a diff will like fix a lot of that, like especially its behavior on throttle. And I think this thing will be like the most fun like mess around car ever, and I'm super pumped.
Yeah.
I'm like so excited about this stupid car.
That's so cool. Good for you.
So it was, yeah, it's fun. I can't wait for Peter to drive it. So when after we build his GR86 CST car, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I could have had an $8,000 CST car."
Or maybe he'll just get himself something nice to drive, and you'll end up autocrossing your that car again.
That dude, I'm honestly I'm wondering why. So back in the day, like mid 2000s, STR before the ND Miata came out, it was a battle between the NC Miatas and the S2000s. And I've driven S2000s, but I never drove an NC Miata. And I'm actually surprised how fast the NC Miata is when it has like a header and a tune. I'm kind of surprised that nobody ever because I believe every year it was S2000 that was like winning nationals. I think if you put like if the right person or maybe even like the right course, maybe it was always like a course thing. I think the NC Miata can totally hang with an S2000 in like in the same class.
Huh. They're in the same class now again, right?
Again, yeah, CST. It's like old STR. Basically, they just remove the ND Miata. That's in its own thing, and now it's allowing all these other like street touring cars to have a place to play.
Yeah, I was around during all that, but I guess I didn't pay that close of attention, other than to know that you're right. The S2000 was always like the better go-to. Um, but maybe there's stuff that has developed past that point. Yeah, what Ito just said. There's NCs have more development and are pretty close now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
There's
who's
probably like a
developing
500
it.
pound difference though.
Who's
Or
developing
maybe
it? Ito.
300.
Yeah, so Ito had both an STR S2000 and an NC, and he said he said he liked the NC Miata better.
They
You're
drive so nice. I'm totally with you on that.
dude, it has hydraulic steering. Like the shifter feels good. Like everything about it feels like really solid. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to take it out on track at some point.
Something you said made me think of. Oh, excuse me.
Uh-oh,
Whoa.
we lost
I just
Tom.
got an aggressive yawn there. Sorry.
Sorry, everyone who just yawned because Tom yawned.
Gotcha.
Here, I'll help wake you up a little bit.
That's scary.
Sorry.
God. I was expecting lizard, and I got that.
Nope.
No, something about the weight though. This is a hard pivot, but did you know that a Mustang GTD, that Mustang that just like reset the Nürburgring record for Mustangs or whatever, who cares, is 4,400 pounds? Did you know that? Oh, I know what I was going to say about that.
Wait, what? For what? Why? How much is a normal Mustang?
I think they're like 3,800 pounds, but
Somebody Google
anyway,
this for
I just
us.
had to bring that up. Though I was going to say you're going to car guy so hard about this car because you have to learn all the things about it
Well,
now.
I guess I'm gonna have to find this stupid vacuum leak. You know, here's the thing: it's a 2006. It's like the base Miata, and it has 160,000 miles on it. And it's gonna have like weird old car problems. Like anything plastic or rubber is just gonna like fall apart on the car. So I honestly, what I should try to do is just find like a hose kit where I just replace all the hoses on top of the engine because all of those are gonna fail at some point. So I might as well just replace them all right now, so I don't have to worry about it for another 20 years. Let's be honest, I'm only gonna own the car for like a year or so, but like just so instead of like trying to figure out which one is the leaky hose, if I just change them all out, then I just like cool. And it's like a thing I can put on the future for sale ad when I go to sell it in a year.
Changed all the fresh hoses.
Fresh hoses, anything rubber was
That's
changed.
that's the kind of nothing part of an ad that actually ends up being like the best part of the car that you bought,
Yeah,
right? If somebody says like it's got all fresh, whatever that is. I
yeah.
don't know.
Anything
All
rubber
fresh
on the
hoses.
car is now new rubber,
Yeah.
except the tires; those are burnt to the ground.
God. And I think you should keep the soft top with the tape. Charming.
No, it's not.
It's lightweight.
No, because the way it folds up and where the rips are, it like so I spent so much time meticulously like prepping the surface and getting like the most high quality duct tape to completely fill up all the holes, and then I put the top down and went back, and it just like fell apart, and I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
I
You
was-
could just get a hard top.
so I was looking at those. Uh, it's hit or miss. Like like how expensive it is, and I don't know enough about it. Like either they're like $3,000 or they're like $800, and I don't know what the difference is.
I don't. Well, it's probably if it's like S2000s, that's probably OEM or knockoff.
Yeah, I'd be
Like the
fine with a
OEM.
knockoff. Look,
Yeah.
guys, if anybody knows anything about NC Miatas, because I know nothing. I just bought the car and now it's in my garage, and I haven't really looked at it since then. I took it to the autocross event and I parked it in the garage, and I haven't looked at it since. And it's Wednesday. Please give me a
You
brain
didn't
dump.
go just like you didn't just go look at it. Oh, that's my
It's
car.
not much of a looker. It's kind of seen some shit. So, Todd,
That's fun. I'm glad you got a fun car.
so Todd's thinking about doing CSX. Honestly, I think CST would be more fun, and you don't have to spend like $5,000 on the suspension package or whatever. I don't know how much the Penske's are for the CSX class.
Also, sorry if I'm wrong, but isn't CSX like kind of nothing? Like, they don't have a lot of cars. They don't have a lot of people buying into that.
I'm not.
Or is that just
Yeah,
at tours? I barely see any of them ever.
at tours I don't see anybody. I think there's like what is there, like 30 of them at nationals? How many are nationals? Can somebody look it up? But I would rather do CST because the class is gonna. I think CST is gonna be a really healthy class and as far as numbers. So you might as well just do that. It will probably cost about the same as the CSX Miata, but you'll have a faster Miata.
Whoa. Which will impress everyone.
Oh, it's a $500 contingency if you get first place at an event with 5 people in the class.
Is that a? By the way, for the road racers in the audience, CSX is a spec MX-5 prepped. Like you buy the package from Tire Rack and you put it on your Miata, and that's all you do.
It's not from Tire
Is that a
Rack.
CSX thing?
It's the same suspension package that is the spec suspension package for spec MX-5. So like the road racing class. It's the same.
Oh,
It's the
got
same
it.
suspension package as that. So it's like the Penske's and all that. It's exactly the same.
Is that what you have?
No,
you said Fortune
no,
500
I just have like
something.
Fortune Auto, like their budget shock, the 500s.
Got it. Huh. He said Mazda money, Falcon money, and EBC money. That's
Oh,
brakes.
yep, it all adds up. Yeah, because you get 200 from Mazda for first place, and you get 200 from Falcon, and then you get 100 of the EBC, and that's cash. They just give you cash. Dang, I'm gonna have to start driving some CSX cars.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm actually really impressed that Mazda still gives away like money.
Dude,
Actually, any of these companies, but
that was
when
so.
Honda pulled out of all of it for a couple years ago, it's like
They're the only ones still.
Oh.
In 2018, where I just went on a tear with like national events, I had like close to $2,000 of like Mazda money. Like that was great.
Yeah. Apparently people used to do pro solo back in like the 90s with the neons. You could win like 5 figures worth of money
Whoa, what?
from a season of autocross.
Where did that
For
go?
pro solos. Where all the Dodge neons went. Away. It went
Junkyards.
away. Yeah, but even when I started, when you were if you were driving a Honda on Toyos, you could win like $2,000 or $3,000 per event because they had a Honda Challenge specifically only for Hondas at the end of the Pro Solo. They had the Toyo money was like $500, I think. I think Honda was paying like $1,500 maybe for class wins. It was like pretty solid.
Anthony in the chat says Nissan will pay out $500 for winning any SCCA or NASA event with 3 people in the class. That must be like road racing or time trials.
But no Nissans ever win anything, is what he said.
I was gonna leave that part out.
Brutal.
So,
I think actually this just gave me an idea.
okay.
Somebody said that when I posted a picture of the Fit, going back to like old contingency conversation, someone was like, "I've never heard the story of this car. I didn't even know you raced this car." I think we should do an origin story now that we're close to 200 episodes in.
Okay.
For like a future soon episode. So
Yeah.
we should do questions today.
I feel like we went over the origin in the beginning, but maybe people skipped that. By the way, we had like the most. Did you see I'm sure you did, but the text of somebody who just got through all 160 episodes and posted in Discord? That was awesome.
I did not, but that's great.
No,
People
you
who
saw
are
it.
either like
You saw it. You read the text from Vince in Montreal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because you reacted on it. You said, "Wow, that means the world." Because he just like gave like this like raving review and stuff like that. Like that.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff that makes us like keep doing the podcast. Like it's so great. So thank you,
Totally.
Vince. We appreciate that.
But whenever anyone says they catch up on like 6 or 7 episodes at a time, I'm like, whoa, that's way too that's too much of us.
I'll be at an event and somebody will say that, so I'm like, and so you're already sick of me. Like, "Well, you haven't even hung out with me for real yet. And I was like you must just be absolutely sick of DJ. So, okay. Do you want to jump into some questions? That was kind of the plan today.
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Emails. All right. We had quite a few questions in here. Hold on, my eyes twitching again. It stopped for a
Your eye
while.
is twitching?
Yeah, it stopped for a while. And now it's back.
Oh no, we missed a very topical question, but we can still do it.
What?
This is from Andy.
Okay.
With the 24 hours of VIR coming up, it was last weekend.
Oh.
Excuse me. Could y'all address some tips for racing at night for the first time? Have you raced at night?
I did at Gingerman in GLTC when it was pouring rain and I couldn't see anything.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Didn't you? Were you you were the one that picked somebody to follow around because you couldn't see?
No. I could see more than Aaron Lichty could, and so he was following behind me. He just had these like little like LED like hot boy lights on his Miata. And I remember at one point, because I was in second place, Eric just kind of drove away. He just bye everyone, have fun. Because he had like these he had like spotlights on the front of his car. Like there was no like Eric was
Yeah.
way over prepared for this 2019 GLTC race. And uh it was always Aaron and Eric battling it out, but Eric like disappeared so quickly that Aaron was just stuck with me. Aaron couldn't see, but I thought Aaron was racing me. So I'm like over driving. Like, oh man, if I get the second place, I think I hit like a podium for the weekend or whatever. Like that's what's going on in my brain. Because I haven't fully fledged out the like properly working lizard brain yet. And I remember at one point, by the way, I the tires I was racing on, I borrowed from Jason Tipple in the paddock. I took him off his daily driver, and then I threw him on the race car, and then I went racing because I didn't bring rain tires because it said 0% chance of rain, and I'm like, cool. Well, I'm not because at that point, my rain tires were the tires off of my daily, and I'm like, it's such a hassle putting the daily on like jack stands or whatever, and I could use the extra space, and it doesn't say it's gonna rain. We're just bringing the slicks. And so I rode around on my scooter and found Jason Tipple and was like, hey, we have the same bolt pattern. Can I borrow your tires? He had ECSs. And Jason was like, okay, sure. That sounds fun. And then he lend me his tires. Anyways, so as I'm sliding sideways through the dirt on Jason's tires, Aaron just waited for me to like basically like, cause I always had the front tires on the racetrack, but my rear was just hanging in the mud.
Yeah.
I barely kept it on track. And then Aaron didn't pass me. And I was like, oh, okay. He's just sitting behind me. So then I just drove like a sane human being for the rest of the race. Eric won. I got second. Aaron got third. And then afterwards, he's like, dude, if you flew off the track there, I don't know if it was going to be appropriate for me to stop because I wouldn't see where I was going. Like maybe I was going to have to pit. Like I'm so glad you stayed on the racetrack. I was like, that's the silliest race I've ever had.
It's funny. I don't know that I have any tips for driving in the wet in the night other than my experience with it is your peripheral vision basically goes away because it's all dark. So like your sense of speed kind of gets all messed with and at first you feel like you're going really really fast because things are coming up at you really fast and you can't really look ahead very well. But after a little while, maybe 2 laps, 3 laps in my experience, as long as you're driving your normal marks, the muscle memory of the track comes back to you and the sense of speed ends up feeling like way slower because you don't have anything like whizzing past you. And most of my experience at night has been at the Thunderhill 25 hour. So you don't see like the bumpers that are sitting off track or like whatever debris or what
The
it's just like all the
bumpers.
yeah, and then the sun comes back up and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was sitting over there all night because you just can't even see it.
Yeah.
So I guess the main tip would be like probably just drive your normal marks that if you've I'm guessing if you've driven the track if you're driving it at night, you've driven it during the day.
Yeah.
I've always if I've driven at night and day, I've almost always set my fastest lap at night because it's cooler. and like you just get in this like flow state easier, I feel like, at night. So as long as you find those first couple marks and like feel confident enough to drive as fast as the car can go rather than what it feels like you're doing because your peripheral speed is gone, then you end up being like faster.
Uh,
I love driving at night. It's so
so,
cool.
something that, so now that we're just thinking about it, I'm thinking if you have a reference that is kind of far off the racetrack that won't be covered by any kind of lights, whether it's headlights or anything like that, maybe find a backup reference when you can still see the track before it's night, with anticipation that you'll need to use that reference later. But it needs to show up in your headlights, or sometimes they put up like little spotlights to like help with different references and stuff. But if it's like black, maybe we should be trying to figure out what references to use before it's dark, because once it's dark, you're kind of stuck with whatever you got. I remember at the Gingerman wet race at night, I was just looking for glimpses of the curb because that's all that would show up in the headlights, because it was like a lighter shade. The like the darker asphalt just blended in with the grass. You couldn't even see the racetrack at all when it was raining. So it was really, really tough.
Hmm. Trying to think of a time that would have happened, or like an example of when that would happen.
Have you ever raced a car at night in the rain with OEM headlights?
No, I don't
Yeah.
think I have.
Okay. Yeah. That was my predicament. Nobody was prepared for that, but everyone thought it would be fun to race at night. We didn't anticipate it would rain. I think if it, remember we put a bunch of like Fast and Furious underglow on our cars and everything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a night race at, well, it was supposed to be a dusk race, but it ended up being at night because they were behind at
You
PPIR,
didn't have any headlights.
and half the cars didn't have headlights. I did have headlights,
Oh, you
but half
did.
the cars didn't because it was supposed to be a dusk race and they didn't have rules about headlights yet.
Yeah.
It's like new race series things. So this is the race that I don't think I've ever told this story on the podcast before. This is the race that I went on the umbrella that was over the flag stand person, not the green flag. So I was starting in fourth, I think, and I saw there was an umbrella like protecting the flagger from shade all day, with shade all day. And then the sun goes down and it was like pitch black and a bunch of people don't have headlights and the flag stands aren't lit or anything. It was super dangerous actually. And I'm looking, waiting for like something flapping, and I see this thing flapping, and I like drop the hammer, and I drop down to whatever, the left lane, and
You're
I'm
like,
like
nobody else
flying
is
past
going.
everyone. Yeah, and then as I'm getting near the flag stand, and I'm already full throttle like grabbing gears, I see the green flag come out. I'm like,
So
oh no!
what
It was
was it?
the umbrella above the person
Oh
that I went
no.
on. So as soon as I realized this, and this is like, it's my third weekend of GLTC ever, I think. But I like had just come off of IMSA the last three seasons or something. So I was like, this is so embarrassing. I cannot believe I did that. And everybody behind me went with me because they thought that I was going. So we're
Yeah, they're
going.
like, well,
Everybody
Tom's
in front of
going.
me didn't go. So it was chaos. And then I realized the chaos I'd caused. So I dropped all the way onto the apron and slowed way down and dropped to the very back. And then I just like started to race my way back through the field after that. But some other people from behind me didn't slow down. They just they
They're
were
just
gone.
like, well,
It was so much chaos.
what, did anybody get any penalties, or like did you get a penalty, or
I don't think so. I know I didn't get one. I was like super apologetic, and I also, like I said, I dropped to the bottom and then dropped to the back. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think anybody got penalties from that. I think they didn't really know what to do about it.
yeah,
Again, this was like
this
the
is,
second season of the series ever, and
yeah,
the first time we'd ever like
but also
what.
I think were there delays on when like the race was supposed to start, so it started a little later, or did somebody like look up when sunset was like incorrectly, or like
Oh no, no idea.
they're like dusk race, it's 8 p.m. Oh, that's dark. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh god, that's so embarrassing. I can't believe we did
I
that.
remember watching the race on stream because it was being streamed, and you just like your car looked like Tron. Like, because you did your car up
Yeah.
to look like Tron, and then everyone else had like little lights here and there. So like the only car you could see was Tom O'Gorman's, basically. And
Because like I'm not gonna win, so I'm gonna look cool.
but you see this like Tron car driving past all these shadows in the start.
I forgot that's on stream. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that now.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
yeah, we're gonna have to go back and look at the chaos because I do remember it being like, what is going on? Because on camera we couldn't see the flagger or anything either. I think if I remember correctly, Kyle was like, "Oh, and we're green, Tom, an amazing start. Now we're green." Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's funny. So,
Damn pro drivers.
yeah, advice on a night race. It's dark.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's not much advice to give there, but it's super fun. Take the chance to do it if you get the chance.
I think like a sunset or a sunrise stint. Mm, that's like some bucket list stuff.
Dude. I'm trying to remember if it was 2 years ago now. Maybe last year's 24 hours of VIR. I got the start, I got sunset, and I got sunrise. Those are my 3 stints. I don't know how I drew those straws. That was like the best 3 stints you could possibly get.
Yeah. Dang.
So fun.
That would be if I had to pick 3 stints, that would be it. So, all right. Thank you for your question. Did you unpin that one, Tom?
I did.
All right.
You get to pick the next one.
I'm just scrolling to a random spot. All right. We have this one from his Discord name is Trogdor. By the way, everyone in the Discord, I don't know if this is nitpicking, but if we could have real names in the Discord, that would make me much happier than saying this email is from Trogdor. So, all right.
The Burninator.
Okay, so I'm why is there Okay. So Trogdor writes in, this past weekend at Autocross, my region set up our course with a couple of pro solo elements, offset slalom at the start, something weird in the middle, and a sucker cone toward the end. Seeing a few unfamiliar elements, I decided to walk with the novices and was able to glean what I thought was good information. Confident I had the winning formula. I drove my first through 5th runs, making sure I placed the car exactly where I was told to. However, I was unable to improve my time. On my final run, I was fed up and decided to do what I normally do. No thinky. Feel out the course and evaluate later. This resulted in a full second improvement and my brain didn't hurt anymore. Thus, we get to my question. Do you think throughout your autocross runs, or do you go by feel/instinct and think later? If you're a thinker, how much do you think while on course? P.S. I've never been to a racetrack, but curious how this applies to lapping/qualifying as well.
Interesting. Okay.
It is interesting, yeah.
So basically, I take this to say he created a preconceived, or he got a preconceived notion of what was supposed to happen rather than develop his own plan.
Yeah, that's kind of
And then when he finally was like, I'm not gonna think about what I thought I was supposed to do. I'm just gonna do.
yeah.
He went fast.
I see this sometimes where somebody's so focused on the placement of the car that it
Yeah.
gets there, but not at the limit. And I think there's, I don't want to send anybody down the wrong path, but I don't want the answer to turn into an hour-long episode. I think like the placement on cones is basically like whatever your angle is on that cone. And you can influence that angle on that cone while having the car at the limit. And the easiest way to do that, I think, is with the pedals. You'll like pull the car down to the cone or push it away, depending on what pedal you use. If you're steering the car into an angle on the cone, then you're probably underdriving. Does that make sense, Tom? Do you want to put that in some Tom words?
No, I think so. But I was going in a different direction with my answer to the question. So finish your thought, and then I'll add my 2 cents. Or was that your thought?
That was my thought. Yeah.
I was taking it more from the approach side, with maybe the mental side. His question was actually, how much do you think when you're driving? I would say that a lot of it, especially with autocross, but within general, maybe it comes down to some of that exits conversation we had with Ross and afterwards with Ross,
Yeah.
where you know where you want the car to end up and you can work backwards from there. Um, I think first of all, having your own game plan going into whatever session or run you're going to do. No, having a game plan for the first session or run is really important. Now that you can develop your own game plan, because to me it doesn't sound like you were overthinking it. It sounds like you put a thought in your head that you didn't want there, or that you didn't. Someone put a thought in your head, and then you were thinking about that more so than driving your own event.
Yeah.
Um, the main thing that I'm thinking about when I'm driving, honestly, I'm not thinking that actively. I think I'm. He said he asked if we're a lizard or a brain or a little bit of both. I think I'm mostly a lizard with like a little bit of brain. So like the brain is like the thing that I wanted to fix from my previous lap or my previous run. So I'm
Yeah.
only thinking about that one thing, and I'm not really thinking about it when I'm doing it. I'm thinking about it on some downtime somewhere, like a straightaway or at the start line or whatever. Um, and then when I go,
I think it's so
then
it's
it's a little bit more just doing the activity. And then there might be a passive thought that comes in every once in a while, like, okay, here's the spot that we need to fix, or
yeah.
here's the thing that I want to fix, or oh, this run's going pretty well. This is going to be pretty fast, or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like
that
that.
pops in. Yeah,
Yeah, so if there's like a spot that it's like, okay, on my previous run, I like messed this up. I came in too hot. Like as I'm getting to that spot, I'll be like, okay, I need more of an angle on this cone because that will have my speed set more correctly for this upcoming element or whatever. But like that's something that I've changed in my game plan and thought about even before I started the run. It I think the way that you described it, where it's just like a thought that kind of like flows through your head and then it's out. Uh, like it literally just goes like through the brain and then it's just immediately out as quick as it came in and as quick as it's out. It'll be like, okay, th- this is the part that I wanted to execute a little differently or something along those lines. But for the most part, in terms of mentally, I think you have to be like fully enveloped in the task at hand or you're leaving time and bandwidth on the table. So I don't think you can be sitting there troubleshooting whatever happened or is going to happen or whatever during the run. I think afterwards you can think about it and how okay, how could that have went better? I'm going to fix, 2 to 3 spots and apply that into my next run. And then I'll drive the course in my head with those fixes in mind, making those adjustments in the way I'm driving it in my head. And then when I go out there, I've already like seen it like quote unquote a couple times driven the way I want to drive it and then it's just up to me to execute on that thing. But I don't think there's a lot of whole frontal lobe going on in that mix because it's too energy consuming and it's honestly just not fast enough. It has to be more automatic. So you can't be like cognitively thinking about the thing that you're doing. It's like analogy I like to use a lot when I'm coaching is you know, is a drummer when they're playing a drum set thinking of like all the different rhythms and beats and stuff they're hitting on all these different drums with their two hands and their feet. No, they're just thinking of the beat. And then their hands are like programmed and automatic enough where they do what is necessary to create whatever the beat is. That's what we're doing as drivers. We're not thinking about our inputs or what our hands and feet are doing. We're thinking about, instead of the beat, we're thinking about the weight or the placement of the car or like how like what are the tires doing? Like those are the things we're thinking about. We're not thinking about our inputs. Those are kind of irrelevant.
yeah. I also think it's a good thing to point out when someone puts an idea in your head that's not part of your own driving process. That can be a really like not literally dangerous, but it can be a dangerous thing for your driving. Uh, Everything from someone says, maybe like a coaching situation aside, someone says I'm flat through that corner, or someone says I'm braking at the 2 when they're really braking at like the peripheral 2, which means the car is physically closer to the 3.
Yeah.
Like things like that, or if you're on an autocross and you're on a walk and somebody says something about how you want to set up wide for this so you can backside that, or whatever, you should be open to all sorts of, like, when people are talking, you should be able to like be a bit of a sponge, but like filter for yourself and trust like what you're feeling is more accurate than the ideas that people put in your head.
But I've seen it a million times where somebody says they're going to do something on a course walk and then they like don't.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that, people you can take whatever everybody else says, at face value, but don't take it as gospel. Like if you went on this novice walk and then somebody said something that got a thing in your head, or you're listening to somebody else and you're at whatever track and they said, "Oh, I break, I'm flat through that corner."
Yeah.
Like you have to take everything with a grain of salt and not just like fixate on. I
I'm
used to have this theory.
but I'm
What?
I'm 100% guilty of like, oh, I'm braking at the 2. And then we actually watch the video and you're like, oh, I'm braking like with my rear bumper at the 3. Like I'm not even close to the 2. But in my mind, I was braking at the 2, but everything starts happening before that and it's not necessarily the same for everyone else. So now if somebody asks me where I'm braking for whatever, I always back it up like a half a brake marker because I'm like, that's actually probably where I'm braking. But it took me a long time of telling people wrong brake markers for me to realize that I was telling people wrong brake markers. And I wasn't doing it maliciously. It's just like I thought I was braking at the 2, but in actuality I'm not braking at the 2.
Right. I thought that was important to point out. I used to have this thing that when I was autocrossing, I would just like I was determined to do the first element flat. Like unless it was like so obviously not able to do it, but I was like the first element should always be flat out. I should be able to just like grab second gear and go flat out through whatever it was. And it wasn't like I became kind of a butthead about it for a little bit. It was like I'm going to try to go flat through that thing or whatever it was. And that's like not a game plan. So if someone was talking to me and I'm like gonna go flat through this first element, and then they're trying it too. I just brought myself down and somebody else down.
Spaz in the chat says, brain is for data, feed the data to the lizard, remove the leash from the lizard, profit. In that order. Yep, I agree.
I'm waiting for the profit part.
Working on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, do the thinking and troubleshooting when you're not, especially in autocross. On a racetrack, I think it's a little different. I think you have time to like, and I encourage this a lot, and I think you should be doing it. You execute the corner, and as you're driving away from the corner, you go, okay, how did that go? And then you kind of like troubleshoot. Okay, couldn't quite get down to the apex, so I'm gonna brake a little earlier next time. And I know exactly where I broke because I was doing it like deliberately. I was braking what I thought was the 2, so now I'm gonna brake just before the 2, or probably now at the 3. But in my brain, it's at the 2. It's as long as it's consistent for you, like that's all that matters. And then the next time I come around, it's like, okay, cool. All right, I got down to the apex, but I had the lift when I was like trying to leave the corner, so I'm gonna apex a little bit later. So like, and you're like making these like fine tune adjustments, and then it's up to you to remember that like whatever the report card after that corner said for the next minute and a half. So when you get there again, you're like, what were my changes this time around? And you do that for like all the corners on the racetrack. And if you can't do that for all the corners, then just because I realize that that's a lot of free bandwidth to be doing that for like every single thing. Deliberately pick the corners that will be most important for the lap time to like really dial in with like a good report card of, okay, like let's really pay attention to what could be fine tuned for this corner, and then deliberately make those changes the next time around.
Yep.
So
I like that. One more.
yeah, sure. I'm
I don't
having
know where we
fun.
started. I
Are you
lost
having
track
fun?
of time. I'm having fun. I'm coming alive, even though I
Lizard.
keep yawning. Sorry. All right. This is from Jason. Hey, Tom and DJ. Can you guys talk a little bit about throttle release? I've been using Trophy AI in iRacing, and it often calls out my throttle release as too slow. It seems like I have a habit of this, particularly in areas that require medium to light braking. After noticing it in the sim, I started paying attention to it in my autocross data. I think I have a habit of slow brake release in real life and in certain elements that like light braking or transitions that require just a lift on entry. Can you guys talk about the importance of a fast throttle release and where, if at all, you might want a slower release?
So
Interesting question.
yeah, I don't know if I've ever really thought about the throttle release. I'm wondering if that trophy AI stuff, and I've never used it, and I honestly don't even know about it. So if you have opinions about it, like please come into Discord and like tell me about it because I'm genuinely curious. Um, but I wonder if you're having overlap with your brake input, and that's what trophy AI is seeing. Because I will see that when coaching on iRacing sometimes is somebody will be a little slow on their throttle release, so they have like 70% throttle and like 70% brake in at like the same time. And it's creating this like, it's creating some inconsistency of how they're getting off the throttle and how they're getting on the brakes. So them trying to dial in like a brake marker is like, it's a little bit of a dice roll of like where they actually end up because their throttle release is inconsistent because the car's still trying to accelerate sometimes and not other times while they're on the brakes. So like maybe the trophy AI is picking up on that and that's why it's telling you to release faster. But I can't think of like anything why you would just like the cadence of the throttle release matters in like I can't I can't see you doing it too fast unless you're really trying to like really slowly like transition the weight on the car where like a slow lift like adds stability on like a tricky off camber corner or something like that. um yeah, I don't know, what do you think, Tom?
I Yeah, I mean, what you just described would be a left foot breaker thing, right? Like if you're
Yeah,
using both feet on both pedals. I have certainly had to coach people pretty often actually on speeding their foot up, like speeding their leg up, um, because they move, pretty casually from throttle to brake, especially. But even getting off the brake as they roll off, even if they do a good trail, sometimes it's like get your foot back, especially low horsepower cars, like get your foot back over on the throttle like quickly. You need to be like faster, more urgent with literally your leg speed.
yeah.
Um, that came up. That actually comes up pretty frequently, I would say. Like maybe 20% of the people I've worked with, I've had to say that to, which is like kind of a lot.
Yeah, that is kind of a lot.
Um,
I think probably because most of my coaching is in sim racing and most people use their left foot for sim racing. I haven't really came across that. But what does that look
yeah.
like in data? Is it just like a large gap between, or you just see it in the video? You're like, okay, I hear the engine and now I see the nose go down. Like we need to like that. Is that kind of what you're looking for? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to this right now that are going, oh crap, do I do that? So like what are you
Yeah.
looking for?
It doesn't show up on video quite as much. Obviously, there's a difference between just having a slow foot and then like lifting and coasting for a while before you brake. That's a totally separate issue. But when I'm talking about this with people for speeding up their foot, it looks like a plateau, like right at the top of the speed trace. And then yeah, there might be a break between if you have throttle and brake data, like you can see if you put your cursor where they release the throttle, you can see a gap to when the brake goes on, a bigger gap. Um, or you can somewhat see it in the longitudinal G-force even, like you can kind of see that they're kind of like soft-footed from getting off the throttle, getting onto the brakes when it could be like sharper.
Is Peter still in
So,
here? Oh, dude, this was happening to Peter at I forget what event me and Peter were at. Chicago, where it plateaus at the top. Cause like when I got on the brakes, it would accelerate, and then there would be a sharp point where it just like where the deacceleration starts. And then for Peter, it was Peter is still here. And then for Peter, it would kind of be like more round, like when the deacceleration would start. So I wonder if that was like a foot speed thing. I never really thought about that before, but that might be that. Peter, let me know if that's it.
and even when I've getting when I drive other people's cars and they ride with me, they're like, "You get to the brake so fast." Like I've had multiple people tell me that, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it,
It's dead
you
time.
shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, you don't want to
Yeah,
waste
yeah,
that time. Also, the other thing is it's more consistent. Like your foot can only move so fast. So if you're just moving your foot from the gas to the brake, and we're not saying like you move from the gas and then just like smack the brake with your foot. It's just like a quick transition from like what that right foot is doing. Uh and if it is basically moving as fast as it can each time, now when you're braking at the two, you're always braking at the two. But if it's kind of a different speed each time, then you're going to have an inconsistency, and dialing in exactly where you hit the brakes is going to be a little harder.
yes. Just said I can't imagine the brain aneurysm Tom would have thinking about wasting time getting his foot from the gas to the brake. That amount of wasted time his brain can't compute. Tito's ridden
Exactly.
with me in a car before. That's why
Yep, yep,
he knows the level of impatience that I operate with.
yep.
The last part, the nuance of his question was really interesting to me about um, light brake pressure zones. Like it was like his foot was too slow, specifically in either light to medium brake pressures, or in autocross when it's like just a lift. that's an interesting like level of this. I think that comes back to something I mentioned about working with Jennifer like 2 weeks ago, I think, where it wasn't necessarily in her toolkit to brake at like light brake pressure. At Mid Ohio, we talked about it being like turn 1 and 11 and all this, right? Getting yourself used to moving your feet quickly but still braking gently. I think that could totally be a tough thing to work on. But I think in general, you still want your foot to be as fast as possible. The only time I can think of, there's a specific instance I'm thinking about in the TCR Civic at, or not, whichever car, TCR car at Road America. It was essentially flat through the kink. Hang on. Okay, TCR car Road America. It was essentially flat through the carousel, but you needed a small speed adjustment like right in the middle of the corner. And if you lifted, it changed the pitch of the car, and it was relatively pitch sensitive with the arrow, so it would really bring the back around if you lifted. And what ended up being the best thing to do was actually just drag the left foot on the brake pedal for just a split second to like control the speed without changing pitch on the car much.
Yeah.
Because even if you lifted, it would still like dive the nose just enough that it would upset the car rather than just make the speed adjustment you want. That's like one instance in millions of different scenarios I can think of that I didn't want my foot to be as fast because it was so pitch sensitive and so like fast at that moment. But I think in general, focusing on getting to a light brake pressure quickly, not so much fixate on like slowing your foot down or even speeding it up to a point. Like that sounds more like a nuance of like getting to that precise brake that you might need or that small speed adjustment you might need, more so than like directly related to the foot
There's
speed.
Yeah, there's been times where like I'll have a slow release off the throttle to like the most gently way possible, set weight on the nose. Um I mean, the Road America carousel is like a good example of that because if you do just a lift, then the nose, especially in iRacing, the nose kind of just like pops into the ground, and you don't want that because the car's like fully loaded. So you want to like as gently as possible set the weight on like the left front of the tire. So you do like a slow lift of the throttle, like as you're starting to wash away from the inside line, like a slow lift, set that weight into the ground, and then the car will start to come back, and then you can just accelerate out. Right. So like carousel is definitely one of those, but there's other instances where like that pops up. When something like that comes up, like take it as an opportunity to learn being super deliberate on the pedals. Because if you haven't ever done anything like that before, like Tom was talking about, like a light brake into turn one, you're not going to have that in your tool belt. But if you figure it out for that one specific corner at that one specific track, now you have it. You guys hear my cat?
Your cat's chatty. Yeah. He's screaming.
Ryan in the chat's like, I hear a cat. But
Yeah,
anyways,
interesting
yeah,
interesting thing to think about.
take the opportunity to try to learn like a new way to balance the car with the pedals, and try to take away from that like something to throw on the tool belt. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say before I was rudely interrupted.
Darian said, "Tell your cat." I said, "Pss, pss, pss, pss." That's funny. Thanks for the question, Jason. Hopefully that was helpful insight. I don't know if we really answered it or not, but
All right, so what are you doing this weekend, Tom?
I don't think you even really know this.
I don't, because
I am going
you said you
to
were traveling on Friday, and I was like, "Where's Tom going?"
I'm going to UMI King of the Mountain to drive an Oldsmobile.
Let's go.
It's fixed. They have it all back together, and they had an entry for King of the Mountain. So I'm gonna be in the early model class. There's a $15,000 prize if I win. I'm probably not gonna win, but hey, I'm excited. So that's on. I think qualifying is all day Friday, morning of Saturday, and then the challenge stuff is all Saturday evening. And I believe it is streamed, um, so people can watch it. And I hope the car works and holds together. I'm super excited.
I'm excited for you.
I literally like this is not on my radar for the year. This literally popped up because this past weekend the car was broken, and they're like, "Well, we do have the UMI entry, and it'd be fun to have you drive the car instead of one of us. And if the car is fixed, we should do it. So they told me yesterday it's fixed, and I got myself.
Awesome. I'm excited for you. That's gonna be awesome. Uh,
I'm so excited.
dude, yeah, I'm super pumped for that. Are they going to nationals by any chance?
Uh, I doubt it.
Okay, because I think that thing would be in Cam T.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Cam T's. I mean, Cam T's pretty fast. There are some really solid drivers in cars in that
No,
class.
some of those Fox bodies are like super quick.
Yeah. But we did talk about maybe doing something like either TT Nats or Gridlife at Pit or something like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
One event at a time.
because I feel
Anyway,
like
what are you doing this
I
weekend?
feel like we need to see Tom in that Oldsmobile. That's all I'm saying. On a camera, preferably. What am I doing? There's a double header at the Pittsburgh Autocross region this weekend. It's the last local before the Pro Solo finale and then Solo Nationals. So me and Peter will just kind of be putting oil on the machine and really just have some fun this weekend. And yeah, and try to go out with the top packs. Hopefully, I haven't gotten a top packs at STC in a very long time. So
Apparently, you just need to drive the Miata.
I might bring the CST car. Who knows? With its open diff.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, so we're all autocrossing this weekend.
Yeah. So autocross is so next week's episode.
I'm going to be $15,000 richer.
Oh my good Tom, if you somehow won, because it's always a little rigged against the late model. Like, cause you have
Well, it's because it's the fastest raw time. So yeah, the newest, fastest cars always
are
won.
generally going to have the advantage. There's nothing that about the old car that's an advantage at all. So
It's only 700 pounds over the minimum weight.
all right, start chopping. I'm sure all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
metal's not needed. Where's the carbon fiber hood? Are we even trying?
Come on, Gorman. What are we doing?
All right. Thank you for joining us today. Tom, you ready to take us out?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, hold on. Let me just make sure the filter's not on. It isn't. All right, you're ready.
Ready? Hey, this one is specifically for your peanut gallery. Wednesday. I love your hair and I hope you win. Kitty.